Good evening, Ma'am. Good evening, classmates. I am VALERIE DANE Kitek, and my partner, MAUREEN Intia. And for now, we will discuss our topic entitled Learning or Thinking Styles and Multiple Intelligences. So when we say learning or thinking styles, it refers to the preferred way an individual processes informations. They describe a person's typical mode of thinking, remembering a problem, solving. Your style is usually described as a personality dimension which influences your attitudes, your values, and your social interactions. There are several perspectives about learning or thinking styles. We shall focus on sensory preferences and the global or analytical continuum. So when we say sensory preferences, these are individuals who tend to gravitate toward one or two types of sensory input and maintain a dominance in one of the following types. So these are the types of learners. We have the visual learners, are the learners who learns by saying. And then the second one, we have the auditory learners, are the learners who learns by hearing. And lastly, the tactile or kinesthetic learners are the learners who learns by doing. So when we say visual learners, they are the learners who think in pictures and learn best from visual aids, including diagrams, illustrated textbooks, overload transparencies, videos, flip charts, and handouts. So during lecture or classroom discussions, they often prepare to take detailed notes to absorb the informations. So Richard Charder further break down visual learners into visual iconic and visual symbolic, wherein visual iconic stated that learners who are more interested in visual imagery such as films, graphic displays, or pictures in order to solidity learning. They usually have good picture memory, aka iconic imagery, and attend to pictorial detail while visual symbolic are the learners who feel comfortable with abstract symbolisms such as mathematical formula or the written word. They tend to be good abstract thinkers who do not require practical means for learning. So we come now to the second type of learners, which is the auditory learners, wherein these are the learners who interpret the underlying meaning of speech through listening to tone of voice, pitch, speed, and other circumstances. So they can attend orally to details, translate the spoken word easily into the written word, and are not easily distracted in their listening ability. So when we say auditory learners, these are the learners who learns by hearing. Auditory learners fall into two categories. We have the listeners and the talkers. So when we say listeners, they may even carry on mental conversations and figure out how to extend what they learned by receiving in their head what they heard others say. So these are the learners who keep receiving the information, keep absorbing the information by means of listening. So the second types of auditory learners is the talkers, wherein the learners prefer to talk and discuss. In a class setting, when the instructor is not asking questions, they tend to comment to themselves. So the talkers learners are the one who express his or her learnings through expressing it verbally. And the last type of learners are the tactile or kinesthetic learners, wherein the learners benefit much from a hands-on approach, actively exploring the physical world around them. They are more toward active sensory motor learnings. They tend to prefer learning by doing, preferring the use of psychomotor skills. They tend to have good motor memory and muscle coordination. We come now to global analytic continuum, wherein analytic is with the use of left brain. So analytic thinkers tend towards the linear or step-by-step processes of learnings. They tend to see finite element of pattern rather than the whole. They are the three seers. They are more comfortable in a world of details and hierarchies of informations. So while global, or with the use of the right brains, are the thinkers lean towards non-linear thought and tend to see the whole pattern rather than particle elements. They are the forest seers who give attention only to the overall structure and sometimes ignore details. So according to Roger Sperry's model, the left brain dominant individual is portrayed as the linear or analytic, or the verbal or mathematical thinkers, while the right brain person is the one who is viewed as global or non-linear and holistic in thought preferences. So a successive processors, or the left brain, prefers to learn in a step-by-step sequential format, beginning with details, lending to a conceptual understanding of skills.
So let's come now to multiple intelligences, or the theory of multiple intelligences, or MI. It was first described by Howard Gardner in Frames of Mind on 1983. Gardner defines intelligences as an ability or set of abilities that allows a person to solve a problem or find a product that is valued in one or more cultures. He believes that different intelligences may be independent abilities, or a person can be low in one domain area but high in another. All of us possess the intelligences, but in varying degrees of strength. So when we say multiple intelligences, refers to a theory describing the different ways students learn and acquire information. These multiple intelligences range from the use of words, numbers, pictures, and music, to the importance of social interactions, introspection, physical movement, and being in tune with nature. It is the person who has a knowledge, who has a wider knowledge. So let's come now to the 9 distinct forms of intelligences according to Howard Gardner. So the first one is the visual or spatial intelligence, or the picture smart. When we say visual or spatial intelligence, it is the learning visually and organizing ideas spatially, seeing concepts in action in order to understand them. The ability to see things in one's mind in planning to create a product or solve a problem. So when we say visual, it is the ability to perceive the visual information in the environment, to represent it internally, to integrate it with other senses and experiences, to derive meaning and understanding, and to perform manipulation and transformations on those perceptions. It is the first language of our brain. The second one is the verbal or linguistic, or the word smart. It is learning through the spoken and written word. This intelligence is always valued in the traditional classroom. So these are the person who enjoy reading and writing, debate or give persuasive speeches, and they are able to explain things well. Come now to the mathematical or logical, or the number smart or logic smart. It is learning through reasoning and problem solving. Also highly valued in traditional classroom, where students are asked to adapt to logically sequence delivery of instruction. When we say mathematically or logically, it is the ability to analyze situations or problem logically, to identify solutions, to conduct scientific research, and to solve logical or mathematical operations easily. The next one is the bodily or kinesthetic, or the body smart. It is learning through interaction with one's environment. This intelligence is the domain of overly active learners. It promotes understanding through concrete experiences. So when we say bodily or kinesthetic intelligence, it is the capacity to manipulate objects and use a variety of physical skills. This intelligence also involves a sense of timing and perception of skills through mind-body union. It is the athletes, dancers, surgeons, and craftspeople exhibit well-developed bodily kinesthetic intelligence. Next is the musical or musical smart. When we say musical smart, it is learning through patterns, rhythms, and music. This includes not only auditory learning but also the identification of patterns through all the senses. Let's come now to the interpersonal or self-smart. It is learning through feelings, values, and attitudes. This is a decidedly effective component of learning through which students place value on what they learn and take ownership for their learning. Next is the interpersonal or people smart. It is learning through interaction with others, not the domain of children who are simply talkative or overly social. This intelligence promotes collaboration and working cooperatively with others. So the next is the naturalist or the nature smart. When we say naturalist, it is the learning through classification, categories, and hierarchies. The naturalist intelligence picks up on subtle differences, meaning it is not simply the study of nature. It can be used in all areas of study. When we say naturalist, it is a person who believes the world can be understood in terms of science, or it is a person who studies natural sciences. It is a person committed to studying nature or natural history. So the last one is the existential or the spirit smart. It is learning by seeing the big picture, asking why are we here, what is my role in the world, and what is my place in my family, school, and community. This intelligence seeks connections to real-world understanding and application of new learning. Existential intelligence is the ability to use intuition, thought, and metacognition to ask and answer deep questions about human existence. An element of existential intelligence is recognizing and understanding our interconnectedness with the world around us and the universe at large.